new director in today. You know the drill. Be nice to him, welcome in. And we're also going to be doing auditions for Importance of Being Earnest. Yeah? Yeah, awesome.
The new director's a bit of a...
It's a bit strange.
You could say.
Are we getting a new director?
Kirsty was great. Why are we getting a new director?
The old one?
Well, you know.
All right, let's go. I need a new coffee. My old one's finished. What are we here to do?
Auditions for the Importance of Being Earnest.
All right. Is that a musical?
No!
Have you considered making it?
No!
Could we make the musical?
No!
All right. Auditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Importance of Being Earnest.
Yes.
Good. You are here to audition for Algernon,
Cecily.
Cecily,
Lady Bracknell.
Lady Bracknell, and Miss Prism. And you two are your bosses. Right. I don't like you very much. So, you look like a Cecily.
Oh.
You do look like a Cecily. You?
No.
Yes,
I know.
you do. You look like a Cecily.
No. I
And
want you to
you look like Algernon.
be. No!
Perfect.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does, if you have the imagination, like I do. And you can be Miss Prism and Lady Can you say a handbag?
I want to be Lady Bracknell.
A handbag? A handbag! A bit slower and more dramatic, please.
A handbag!
Handbags!
Wouldn't it be easier if we just swapped?
Would be no, she's Lady Bracknell, you're Miss Prism. Algernon and Cecily.
No, I want to be Cecily.
Who's
and he
this?
wants-
Who are you?
Ernest.
Ernest.
The cleaner.
Yeah, he's the cleaner.
The cleaner.
He can't
Not
audition.
anymore, he's my greatest actor.
No, he can't audition. That's not fair.
For goodness sake.
Look, he's got a butler's glove.
It's a plumbing glove.
Ha ha ha, very fun.
No.
You always make me laugh. Right, he is going to be Merriman, because he's got a butler's glove.
He hasn't even auditioned,
Can
and
you dance?
neither.
Yeah,
It's not a musical.
he can dance.
It's not.
Why would he
Are
need
we
to?
sure this isn't a musical?
Yes!
It's a circle of life.
Oh my god. No.
You can bring your
Leotard.
Yes.
Why would
Bring
he?
that.
Why-
And this. Can it be a musical? No. All right. Here's my good friend. I told you about him, didn't I?
Your friend.
I'm not.
Yeah, he's Jack.
I'm
What?
not.
No, that's a main
No,
character.
I'm not Jack.
You're Jack.
I
and I'm Lane.
have stage fright. I'm sorry.
You can't be Lane. You can't cast yourself. You're the director. That's not how
Yes,
it
I
works.
can, because I'm the director. Therefore, I'm Lane. Look, I've already got the costume.
I haven't even auditioned yet.
Yes, you have. You auditioned a week ago.
No, I didn't.
Over Twitter.
Honestly, guys, Twitter. I don't even have a Twitter account.
over Twitter. You
can
That's
audition
not
over
how it works. We
He's
haven't
silly.
auditioned.
He's Jack. And
Jack.
does anyone have any problems?
Yes.
Yes, several.
Well, I came here to be Lane because I'm trying to get my.
I'm Lane. I told you that.
Wait, you're Lane.
Yeah, I'm Lane.
Oh, for goodness sake,
Look.
you're mental.
Yeah, you're Jack. You're Jack.
I hate you.
Yeah, no, you're Jack.
You said it.
Please just give us characters.
Yeah, I have. But still any problems?
Yes.
What's your problem?
I didn't get the person I wanted to be cast with, and you're a total Fruit Loop.
Excuse me?
You're nuts.
Alright then. You'll be Algernon just so I don't have to deal with your sass.
And I can be.
Sassy. Sassy little boy. Sassy, sassy, sassy.
Please just give us the parts.
Who can I be?
You can be... Who did I cast you as?
Algernon.
Fine, you can be Cecily.
Thank you. Wait, there's not enough girls.
Right, we need a Gwendolyn.
Not me.
Well, I wouldn't mind being Gwendolyn.
Just one moment, I'm dealing with her now. Alright? Patience, darling. Who did I cast you as?
Miss Prism, but I think I'd better be Lady Bracknell.
Say, a handbag!
Please.
A handbag!
handbag.
Alright then. You are my Lady Bracknell, and you can be Miss Prism. And who did you say you could be?
Gwendolyn. I don't even know her line.
Right, Gwendolyn and Miss Prism.
So she's cast as two people.
Yes,
How's that gonna work?
it's just going to work. How isn't it going to work? Any problems now?
Still several.
What will our bosses be?
My two narrators, alright? The useless people. The people that are as useless as trees.
They're
Yes,
bosses. Trees.
I don't like them, so they
I'm
never
fed
better.
up. I like trees. You can be biased.
You always make me laugh. So Jack, Algernon,
Cecily.
Cecily,
Ladybird.
and
Miss Prism and
Lola. Still any problems?
Yes.
We have several problems.
All right, narrator. Come back when you're a main character.
I mean,
What was the director? Why did we have to get a new director?
Oh, will you stop it? We do not get paid enough.
We don't get paid.
We're volunteers.
That's it. Let's just get on with it, please.
I still need my coffee!
The first scene is in Algernon's flat. He has his aunt and cousin coming over when an unexpected guest arrives.
Lane? Have you got the cucumber sandwiches cut for Lady Bracknell?
Yes, sir.
By the way, Lane, how's your wife? I have a very little experience myself with married life up to the present. I've only been married once. That was in consequence of a misunderstanding.
Well, my wife,
Actually, I don't know how much interested in your family life after all, Lane.
No, sir. It's not a very interesting subject. I never think of it myself.
Very natural, I'm sure. That'll do, Lane, thank you. Let my guest in now.
Mr. Ernest Worthing.
How are you, my dear Ernest? Brings you up to town.
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one, anyway? Eating as usual, I see, dear Algie.
I believe it is customary in good society to take some slight refreshment at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
In the country.
What on earth do you do there?
Well, when one is in town, one amuses himself. When one is in the country, one amuses others. It is excessively boring.
By the way, Shropshire's your county, is it not?
Oh, Shropshire. Yes, of course. Hello. Why the cucumber sandwiches? Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who is coming to tea?
Lady Aunt Augusta and Gwendolen.
How perfectly delightful.
My dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolen is perfectly disgraceful. It's almost as bad as the way Gwendolen flirts with you.
I am in love with Gwendolen. I have come up to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you'd come up for pleasure. I call that business.
How utterly unromantic you are, dear Algie.
I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. It's very romantic to be in love, but there's nothing romantic about a definite proposal. Then the excitement is all over. If ever I get married, I'll certainly try to forget the fact.
I have no doubt about that, dear Algie.
Please don't touch the cucumber sandwiches. They're ordered especially for Aunt Augusta.
Well, you have been eating them the whole time.
That's quite a different matter. She's my aunt. Now, Gwendolen is my cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, you shall have to clear up the whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean by Cecily, Algernon? I don't know anyone of the name Cecily.
Bring me that business card case Mr. Worthing left in the Darling the last time you came here.
Yes, sir.
You mean to say you have had my business case all this time? I wish to goodness you would let me know. I've been looking everywhere for it.
Ah, but this isn't your business card case after all. This is a present from someone called with the name of Cecily, and you said you didn't know anyone of that name.
For heaven's sake, just give me back my cigarette case.
Ah, but this isn't your cigarette case after all. This is inscribed to a man called Jack, and your name isn't Jack at all. It's Ernest.
It isn't Ernest, it's Jack.
Ooh, scandal!
You've always told me it was Ernest. I've introduced you to everyone as Ernest. You look as if your name is Ernest. You answer to the name of Ernest. You're the most earnest-looking person I ever saw in my life. It's perfectly absurd you're saying your name isn't Ernest.
Well, in the country, my name is Jack. And in the town, my name is Ernest. And the cigarette case, or the business card case in this case, it was given to me in the country.
Tell me the whole thing. Having mentioned I've always suspected you of being a confirmed and secret Bunburyist, and I'm quite sure of it now.
Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by Bunburyist?
So Jack, this man, pretends to be called Ernest when he leaves home so he can live life anonymously.
Back at home, Jack is guardian to a young lady named Cecily Cardew, who has a governess called Miss Prism.
So at home he's called Jack, but elsewhere he goes by Ernest, so how he behaves doesn't reflect badly on the young lady of whom he is in charge of.
To complicate it further, Jack pretends he has a younger brother called Ernest, whom we simply know to be his alter ego, so that he has a reason to leave home whenever he pleases.
Well, you have invented a very useful younger brother called Ernest, so that you can come up into town as often as you like. I have invented an invaluable permanent invalid called Bunbury, in order that I may go down to the country whenever I choose.
Do you follow? So, Algy has a friend called Bunbury, whom he uses to get out of plans whenever he wants to.
Basically, they're both liars.
Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. If it weren't for Bunbury's extraordinarily bad health, for instance, I wouldn't be able to dine with you at Willis's tonight, for I've been really engaged to Aunt Augusta for more than a week.
I haven't invited you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
I know, but I'm certainly careless about sending out invitations. It's very foolish of you.
Stop! If Gwendolyn accepts me, I shall kill my brother Ernest. Indeed, I shall kill him in any case. Cecily is a little too interested in him. It is rather a bore. So it's settled then. I shall get rid of Ernest. And I advise you to do the same thing with, your stupid friend with that ridiculous name.
Nothing will induce me to part with Bunbury. And if only you get married, which seems to be extremely problematic, you'll be very glad to know Bunbury. Ah, that must be Aunt Augusta. Now, if I get her out of the way for 10 minutes, so that you can have an opportunity for proposing to Gwendolyn, may I dine with you at Willis's tonight?
I suppose so, if you'd like to.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope you have been behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well, Aunt Augusta.
That is not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
I am always smart, am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You're quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
I'm sorry if we are a little late, Algernon. I'll have a cup of tea now, and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta. Good heavens! Lane, why are there no cucumber sandwiches? I ordered them specially.
No cucumbers at the market this morning, sir. I checked twice.
No cucumbers.
No, sir. Not even for ready money.
That will do, Elaine, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there being no cucumbers, even for ready money.
It really makes no matter, Algernon. I've already taken tea. Thank you. I have quite a treat for you tonight, Algernon.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
I do hope not. It would put my table completely out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
It is a great bore, and I need hardly say a terrible disappointment to me. But the fact is, I've just had a telegram to say my poor friend Bunbury is very ill again.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, poor Bunbury.
Well, I must say, Algernon, I think it's high time that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he was going to live or to die. This shilly-shally with the question is absurd. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. I should be much obliged if you would ask Mr. Bunbury, from me, to be kind enough not to have a relapse on Saturday, for I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is my last reception, and one wants something which will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season when everyone has practically said whatever they had to say, which in most cases was probably not much.
I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is still conscious. I think I can promise he'll be all right by Saturday. Of course, the music is a great difficulty, but I'll rather than the programme I've drawn out, you'll kindly come into the next room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. It is very thoughtful of you. Gwendolyn, you will accompany me?
Certainly, Mamma.
A charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray, to talk about the weather, Mr. Worthing. When people talk about the weather, I always feel as if they mean something else.
I do mean something else.
I thought so. In fact, I am never wrong.
I would also allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I was certainly advise you to do so. Mamma has a way of coming back suddenly into a room. I've often had to speak to her about it.
Gwendolyn, ever since I have met you, I have admired you more than any other girl I have met since I met you.
Yes, I'm quite well aware of the fact, and I often wish that in public, at any rate, you had been more demonstrative. I have always wanted to love someone of the name of Ernest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me he had a friend called Ernest, I knew I was destined to love him.
You really love me, Gwendolyn?
Passionately.
I must get christened at once. We must get married at once. There is no time to be lost. Wait, you mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest?
But your name is Ernest.
No, it isn't.
Shh!
You'll spoil it?
Yes, I know it is. But supposing it was something else, you wouldn't love me then? I don't much care about the name Ernest. I don't think it suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly. It is a divine name.
Well, really, Gwendolyn, I must say, I think there are much other nicer names. Such as Jack, for example. A charming name.
Jack. But that name has very little music. In fact, none at all. I have known several Jacks, and they all are, without exception, more than unusually plain. The only real safe name is Ernest.
I've said it once and I said it again. We must get married at once.
Married, Mr. Worthing.
Well, surely, you know that I love you, and you have led me to believe that you are not completely indifferent to me.
I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet.
Well, may I do it now then?
Well, I think it would be an admirable opportunity. And despite of any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it's only fair to tell you quite frankly beforehand that I'm fully determined to accept you.
Gwendolyn,
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what do you have to say to me?
will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling. How long have you been about it?
Mr. Worthing!
I'm engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I, or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact. And now I have some questions to put to you, Mr. Worthing. While I'm making these inquiries, you, Gwendolyn, will wait for me below in the carriage.
Mamma!
In the carriage, Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn, the carriage. You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
No, thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel bound to tell you, Mr. Worthing, that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. However, I am quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. How old are you?
29.
A very good age to be married at. I have always been of the opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything which tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate exotic fruit. Touch it, and the bloom is gone. Where do you live?
I own a country house, with some land on it too. About 100 acres.
A country house. How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse too, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolyn could hardly be expected to reside in the country.
Well, I do own a house on Belgrave Square, but it is let to the year by Lady Bloxham. Of course, I could take it back whenever I like.
What number in Belgrave Square?
149.
The unfashionable side. I thought there was something. However, that could easily be altered.
Do you mean the fashion or the side?
Both, if necessary, I presume. Now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents, Lady Bracknell.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father?
Well, it is closer to the truth to say that they lost me. I was found.
Found?
Yes, by a charitable gentleman, the late Sir Thomas Cardew. He found me and gave me the name Worthing, because he had a ticket, a first-class ticket, to Worthing in his pocket. Worthing is a place in Sussex. It is a seaside resort.
And where did the charitable gentleman with a first-class ticket for this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag!
No. This is the most important line in the entire play. It's still quoted until this day, and Oscar Wilde wrote this in the 1890s. You show them how it's done.
A handbag!
Try again.
A handbag!
No! Try changing the ND sound to an M sound.
A handbag!
That was excellent. Good job.
Yes, Lady Bracknell. A handbag. A somewhat small brown leather handbag with handles.
In what locality did this Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across this handbag?
A cloakroom in Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
A cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial, Mr. Worthing. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life.
Well, may I ask you what you advise me to do? I need hardly say I'd do anything to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try to acquire some relations, and to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent before the season is quite over.
But how on earth am I supposed to do that? Of course, I could go and get the handbag at any moment. It is at my house. Maybe that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has it to do with me? You could hardly imagine that Lord Bracknell and I would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Didn't I go off all right, old boy? You don't mean to say Gwendolyn refused you?
Algy, you don't think that Gwendolyn will ever be like her mother in about 150 years?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That's his. Now, tell your brother Ernest.
Oh, I shall have killed him by the end of the week. Poor Ernest, to be carried away by a severe chill in Paris. That get rid of him.
Very good. Now, you're Cecily, and I'd like to meet her.
And I shall take very good care you don't. She has only just turned 18, and she is very pretty.
Have you told Gwendolyn yet you have a very pretty ward who is only just 18?
Well, one doesn't blurt these things out. But I bet you, from the first half hour they meet, they'll be calling each other sister.
What do you do after dinner? Go to a theatre?
Oh, I loathe listening.
Well, let us go to the club.
I hate talking.
Well, what shall we do then?
Nothing.
Lane, get my coat. I think I shall go bunburying this afternoon.
An admirable pastime, sir. I shall take this opportunity to read the book you got me last Christmas. Being a Butler for Dummies.
I shall watch the rest of the play from the audience. I would like to get a sense of the play.
Garden at the Manor House. Jack's home.
Time of year, July.
Cecily! Cecily, intellectual pleasures await you. Your guardian requests that you develop in every way.
Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he is so serious that I think he cannot be quite well.
Your guardian is the best of health, and I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility than he.
I suppose that is why he often looks a little bored when we three are together.
Cecily, I am surprised at you. Mr. Worthing has many troubles in his life. You must remember his constant anxiety about that unfortunate young man, his brother.
I wish Uncle Jack would allow that unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometimes. He might have a good influence over him, Miss Prism. I am sure you certainly would.
I do not think that even I could. I am not for this modern mania of turning bad people into good at a moment's notice. As a man sows, so let him reap. You must write in your diary, Cecily. I don't see why you need to keep a diary at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary we all carry around with us. Now, Cecily, I am off for a walk to ease a headache. You will read the political economy in my absence.
Horrid political economy. Horrid geography. Horrid German.
Mr. Ernest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He's brought his luggage with him.
Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4, the Albany. W. Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes, he seemed very much disappointed. He mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He seemed anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Tell Mr. Worthing to come out here. Did you mention that Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes.
Well, tell him to come out here and I will talk to him. I've never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he will just look like everyone else. He does.
Then I'm a little cousin Cecily, I'm sure.
You're under some strange mistake. I'm not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cecily. And you, I see from your card, are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest. My wicked cousin Ernest. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon.
That is a great disappointment. I'm obliged to go out with the first train on Monday morning.
Well, I think you'd better wait till Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to speak to you about your emigrating.
About my what?
You're emigrating. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, he said at dinner on Wednesday night that you would have to choose between this world, the next world, or Australia.
I think I should prefer this world. I shall reform myself at once. I must say, I am hungry.
How thoughtless of me. Why did you come in?
So now Algie has appeared pretending to be the imaginary Ernest.
What will Jack think when he returns? And what about Miss Prism?
Oh, but where is Cecily? Oh, Mr. Worthing, this is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till Monday afternoon.
I have returned sooner than expected. My poor brother Ernest. Dead. Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it.
Poor Ernest. He had many, many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow. He was carried off in Paris. I had a telegram from the manager of the Grand Hotel, seeming he wanted to be buried in Paris.
Oh, Uncle Jack, I am pleased to see you back. But what horrid clothes you've got on. Do you get and change them?
Cecily!
Uncle Jack, you look happy. You look as if you've had a toothache. And I have something great to tell you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
What?
Your brother Ernest. He arrived about half an hour ago.
What nonsense. I don't have a brother.
Oh, don't say that. However badly he may treat Cecily. He is still your brother. You couldn't be so heartless to disown him. I will tell him to come out here, and you will shake hands with him, won't you, Uncle Jack?
After we had all been resigned to his loss, his sudden return seems to me peculiarly distressing.
My brother, in the dining room. I don't know what this all means. I think it is perfectly absurd.
Brother John, I've come down from town to say I'm very sorry for all the trouble I've given you, and that I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Of course, I admit the faults are all on my side, but I must say that I think Brother John's conduct to me is peculiarly painful. I'd expected a more enthusiastic welcome, especially considering it's the first time I've come here.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me?
Never, never, never.
Fine. And this is the last time I shall ever do it.
I think we'll leave the two brothers together here. Come in with me.
Certainly, Miss Prism. My little task of reconciliation's over.
No, beautiful acting with dear child.
Algernon, you young scoundrel! You must leave this place at once. I don't allow any Bunbury in here. I have just arranged to get christened so that I can change my name to Ernest, so then I can marry Gwendolyn. You're ruining it!
I've unpacked Mr. Ernest's things and put them into the room next to your own, sir. Suppose this is all right?
What?
Mr. Ernest's luggage, sir. I've unpacked it and put it into the room next to your own.
His luggage?
I'm afraid I can't stay more than a week this time.
Merriman, change of plan. Mr. Ernest has just been called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a fearful lie you are, Jack. I haven't been called back to town at all.
Yes, you have.
I haven't heard anyone call me. Well, Cecily is a darling.
You are not to talk of Miss Cardew like that. I don't like it.
Well, I don't like your clothes. You look perfectly ridiculous in them. Why on earth don't you go up and change? It's perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who's actually staying for a whole week with you in your house as a guest.
You are not staying in my house for a week as a guest or anything else. You must leave this place at once. This has not been a great success for you now, has it?
I think it's been a great success. I'm in love with Cecily and that's everything.
This is getting better. I almost believe you on that. Very amusing.
Update, please.
So Jack is trying to change his name to Ernest to marry Gwendolyn. Meanwhile, Algie has his eye on Cecily, who believes him to be Ernest, Jack's long-lost brother.
And we get to go to a christening.
Oh, no. It's just pretend.
Oh, I merely came back to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It's a very painful parting.
It's always painful parting from someone whom one has just been introduced to. A momentary separation from anyone whom one has just been introduced to is almost unbearable.
Thank you. I hope I shall not offend you, but
The dog cart is waiting to take you to the station, sir.
It can wait, Merriman, for 5 minutes.
I hope I shall not offend you, Cecily. If I state quite frankly and openly, you seem to me to be in every way the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
You really need a diary. I'd give anything to look at it. May I?
Oh no! You see, it's simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. But pray, Ernest, don't stop. I've reached absolute perfection. So don't call Ernest. I don't know how to spell call.
Cecily, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
The dog cart is waiting, sir.
Tell it to come round next week at the same hour.
Yes, sir.
I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy. Of course. I've loved you ever since I first heard your name. You must not laugh at me, darling. It has always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone with the name of Ernest. Something in that name seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband's name is not Ernest.
But, my dear child, do you mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name?
But what name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name of Algernon.
Well, my own dear, sweet, loving little darling, I really don't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. Cecily, my name is Algie. Couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character. But I fear that I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
I'll be back in no time.
Good! Work on your projection. That is a note for everybody.
So Algie rushes off to try and get himself christened to be named Ernest.
And Jack doesn't know that Algie is trying to achieve the same name as him.
And Miss Fairfax has just called to see you from the station.
Pray, ask the ladies to come out here. Mr. Worthing is sure to be back soon. Oh, and you can bring tea.
Yes, miss. Miss Fairfax.
Pray, let me introduce myself. My name's Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew? What a very sweet name. Somebody told me we were going to be great friends. I like her really more than I can tell. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much, after we've only known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray, sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
You may,
And you will always call me Gwendolyn?
if you wish.
Cecily, Mamma has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It is part of her system. So do you mind me looking at you through my glasses?
Oh, not at all, Gwendolyn. I am very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh no, I live here.
Really?
Yes, I am Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh, it is strange. He never mentioned me at a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I'm not sure, however, that the news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. I'm very fond of you, Cecily. I have liked you ever since I have met you. But may I speak candidly?
Pray do. I think that whenever one has something unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
Well, to speak with perfect candour, Cecily, I wish you were fully 42, and more than unusually plain for your age, to be living with a man named Ernest.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me he had a brother.
I'm sorry to say they have not been on good terms for quite a long time.
And that accounts for it. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been quite terrible if any cloud came across a friendship like ours. Would it not? Of course, you are quite sure it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing was your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I am to be his.
I beg your pardon.
There is no reason why I should make it a secret of you, dear Gwendolyn. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cecily, I think there must be some slight error. My Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
Well, that seems quite strange, as Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
This is certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you care to verify the incident, pray do so. I never travel without a diary. One should always have something sensational to read on the train. I'm so sorry, dear Cecily, if it's any disappointment to you, but I'm afraid I have the prior claim.
It distresses me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolyn, but I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he has clearly changed his mind.
Cardew.
So glad you liked it, Miss Fairfax.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country if anybody who is anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you, detestable girl. I require tea. Sugar? No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter. Cake is rarely seen at the best houses nowadays.
Hand that to Miss Fairfax.
You have filled my tea with lumps of sugar, and though I specifically asked for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my nature and the sweetness of my disposition, but I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
Gwendolyn.
And it's my own Ernest. A moment. May I ask if you are engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Of course not. What would have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The man who is at present is my guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack.
Oh.
Here is Ernest.
Oh, love.
A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
Young lady. Good heavens, Gwendolyn.
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean, to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew, that this gentleman is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon. Oh. Is your name Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name really is John.
My
It
poor,
has been John for years.
my poor wonder, Cecily.
My sweet wronged Gwendolyn.
You would call me sister, will you not?
Yes. A gross deception has been practiced upon both of us. We must leave, Gwendolyn.
Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?
Algernon, why are you still here? Didn't I tell you to go? I don't want you here. Leave!
Well, that was bound to happen.
Quite exciting though, wasn't it?
No! It is hardly thrilling at all. Up the energy, you are actors! Look at how bored the audience is! Look at him! He looks like he's going to fall asleep. And her! She's been asleep for the last 20 minutes! Up the energy! Continue from inside the house! It is the third and final act!
Let us preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly.
We will not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply.
Your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
So that I could have an opportunity of meeting you.
Well, that seems like a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Yes, dear, if you can believe him.
I don't, but that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
Mr. Worthing, what
explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have an opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the great doubts upon the subject, but I intend to crush them. Your explanations appear to be quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to me to have a stamp of truth upon it. I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said, and you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
Okay. Your Christian names...
There's still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? But we are being christened this afternoon.
For my sake, you're prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
For me, you're prepared to face this painful ordeal.
I am.
Lady Bracknell.
Good heavens!
Gwendolyn! What does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Sit down immediately. I followed Gwendolyn here by luggage train. Now, of course, you will clearly understand, Mr. Worthing, that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as indeed all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. May I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
This is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I'm engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea there were any families or persons whose origin was a terminus.
She is the granddaughter of the late Sir Thomas Cardew.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. So far, I am satisfied.
How extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell.
Oh, Gwendolyn, the time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew had any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. Pounds in the funds. That is all, Lady Bracknell.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000? And in the funds? Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Come over here, dear. Pretty child. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair is almost as nature might have left it. The chin a little higher, dear. Style largely depends on the way the chin is worn. They are worn very high just at present. Algernon,
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
there are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the world. And I don't care a jot about social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon. Long engagements give people the opportunity of finding out each other's character before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but I have 2 points now to speak. One, that this is no place for Gwendolyn to be speaking in. I feel that she should go to the carriage right now.
Yes, Gwendolyn, go to the carriage.
Very well, Mamma.
And two, this engagement is quite out of the question. Miss Cecily Cardew is my ward, and until she comes of age, she cannot marry without my consent. That consent I decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask?
It pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but I'm afraid I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible.
can be no possible doubt about the matter. Earlier this afternoon, he obtained admission to my house by means of false pretense of being my brother. And then, furthering his disgraceful deception, he alienated the affections of my only ward. And what made this disgraceful deception all the more heartless is that he was well aware of the fact that I have no brother, and that I never had a brother. I distinctly told him so myself yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I've decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
How nice of you, Lady Bracknell. My decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
What's to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
My dear Mr. Worthing, I beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But you see, Lady Bracknell, the decision is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to Gwendolen and I's marriage is the moment that I will happily allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be quite aware that what you propose is out of the question. And now I must leave. I've already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose Gwendolen and I to comment on the platform.
Cecily, come. Miss Prism is looking to continue your earlier lesson.
Miss Prism! Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism? Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
Miss Prism has been for the last 3 years Cecily's esteemed governess and valued companion.
It is obviously the same person. I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
Miss Prism is asking for Cecily, sir.
Bring her through here, Merriman.
As you wish, sir. Okay, cut to where she enters. I hate all the awkward waiting. Go!
I have been waiting for you an hour and 3/4, Cecily.
Prism! Come here, Prism! Prism, where is that baby? 28 years ago you left Lord Bracknell's house in charge of a baby boy. You never returned. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I am ashamed that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mentioned, a day that is forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out. I had also with me a somewhat old and capacious handbag, in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction I had written in my full-occupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I can never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
It was in my mother how to read these things in London.
Suspense is killing me. I hope it lasts.
Is this the handbag? Examine it carefully before answering. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
Yes, it appears to be mine. Look, here on the lock are my initials. I have forgotten. In an extravagant mood I had them placed here. Yes, it is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
More is restored to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, Mother!
No, Mr. Worthing, there is indeed some error. This is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me on who I am?
I am afraid, Mr. Worthing, that the news I have to give you may not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
I am too old for this. I must go off.
Algeron's elder brother? I always knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you ever doubt it I had a brother? Gwendolyn, I have family! Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother. Algeron, you young scoundrel. You'll have to treat me with more respect in future. You've never acted like a brother to me in all your life.
Gwendolyn, my own, but what?
My own, but what? What is your name?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten that point. Lady Bracknell, a moment. At the time that Miss Prism had left me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished upon you by your fond and doting parents.
So I was christened then. That is settled. What name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father. I cannot, at the present moment, recall what the General's Christian name was, but I have no doubt he had one.
Algie, surely you would remember our father's Christian name.
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list for the period, I suppose.
I have no doubt his name would appear in any military directory.
Merriman, bring the army lists, please. Oh, he's a terrible butler. He's going to take forever. Always does. I don't know. Anytime that he's done it.
Bitch, be
oh,
quiet.
blimey, that was quick. Okay, yes. We give Moncrief, Lieutenant, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General, Christian name, Ernest John. My name is Ernest. I mean, it naturally is Ernest. Ernest after all. My name is Ernest.
Ernest, my own Ernest. I thought you could have no other name.
This is great. I can't believe I'm an Ernest.
I can, for I fear you are sure to change.
That is settled then. I'm going to change.
My dear nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I now realize the vital importance of being earnest. No! Do not applaud! That was ghastly! We should not perform this again! I'm so sorry, audience. Right, we are going to have to redo this. Re-auditioning tomorrow. Hamlet. I do believe it to be much easier. Sorry. Oh, come on. It's always been so hard working. I have to learn my lines in a night.
Well, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, maybe I'll come up with an alter ego. Oh, don't you
Dear.
Do you reckon we should get a new director?
Yeah. What was his name anyway?
Ernest.